mentioned, pretty much every guy you thought you were going to sign, you were able to. I think as far as we know, maybe during this entire recruitment, this period, you only had one guy, I think, that was ever committed to you that went anywhere else. What was it like, being able to, have all these guys committed and be able to see it through? What was that like? Because I know that's not always the case.
No, it's not. It's not always the case with every program. You see guys today flipping or whatever, and I think what it says, our coaches, one, they did a tremendous job of continuing to build relationships with these guys. I think a lot of times in recruiting that doesn't happen. Our coaches don't do that. They have real connection with the players. They have real connection with the families and the coaches. I think we've also done the work on the type of guys that are ones that are going to commit and stay committed. Doesn't always work like that, but you try to figure that out. And if a guy's wavering, I tell them all the time, if you're not 1,000%, don't commit. We don't want you to commit right now. Take your time, take your trips, do whatever you got to do. But when you do, you're 1,000%. That's going to change not only your life, but also ours and the guys we're recruiting. Because now, you know what? We're no longer recruiting them. We're with you. And so I just feel like the guys we went after, number one, were the right character guys. Number two, the way that we continually stayed in contact with them and built the relationships were key. And when it got down to the last couple weeks and there's those shenanigans and all those things are happening, and you got new staffs and people trying to come in and just sign guys and get them in, and looking at other teams that do well and just like, hey, let's see if we can go after these guys and get them. I totally get that. That's part of recruiting. You have to do that. But if you have the relationship and you have the type of character that these guys are on the board here, I think most often you're going to see guys stay committed. And that's what this class did. So the 15 guys we were after, so there wasn't anybody else. The 15 guys we were after, we got them. George was a little bit late today. He had to get a signature, so it wasn't anything that – there was no issues that way. There was no issues with any of these guys. And most already had that out, that they were committed to us. And they stayed that way, and they talked about their excitement, and it kind of built leading up to today. And everybody was really on point with what they said they were going to do, and now we got them. They're all excited. They're connecting with each other, and they just want to get here.
You obviously needed to restock at quarterback, but that's probably harder to do today than it ever has been. So what went into the decision with these two guys, and how did you get A, these two guys to be willing to do it now, and B, given what's going on, how do you get them to be committed to staying here with everything that's gone on at that position?
Yeah, well, I don't know the answer to the second question. That's a hard one. And it's not just quarterback. You never really know that, but I would say this about the two guys we signed. Neither one is afraid of competition. That's one thing in recruiting. Sometimes you'll be recruiting a guy and he'll ask you, all right, what's the depth chart? You'll tell him that. All right, where do you see me fitting in? You'll tell him that. When do you see me having an opportunity? And that's like, you start getting those questions. I don't know if you're dealing with the guy that fits us, because every year there's going to be competition. Next year we'll take another quarterback and there'll be competition. And I think that's the one thing we always do. We explain that very well to our guys, like, listen, you're going to have to compete. Next year we'll try to bring somebody in better than you. You'll have to compete with them. And hopefully you're ahead of the game. So, these two guys, Hank, he's all about competition. He's all about, you give me an opportunity, I'm ready to go out there and compete and take advantage of it. Caden's the same way. Caden, obviously, back-to-back state champion, had a lot of success. No different for him. Caden came up here on an unofficial visit, and he was sold the day he came up here. Like, this is where I want to be. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of other schools that started talking to him late. Didn't matter. If I got an offer from Boise State, this is where I'm going. And through the process, we looked at where we are and our quarterback situation and decided we needed to take another guy, which is not always the case in what you want to do. But with Hank, it wasn't an issue. With Caden, it wasn't an issue. And I think those two guys, one, I think they're going to get along really well. They both have the same type of mindset. They're competing at a position, but they'll be in that room. They're going to get along just fine. They're both going to be in here early. They're obviously going to get their opportunities. You know, Chase Cord being out of spring with his knee and healing up, there's more opportunities, so they're going to get it. So they're not going to be sitting around watching. We're going to have to bring them in here, and we've got to microwave these guys in a hurry, because they'll be in spring practice before they know it, and they'll be pulling the trigger and ready to play. And, you know, we'll go through spring. There'll be no decisions like we've done before, but we'll get a chance to see these guys. They're going to get real reps. They're going to get a lot of film that they can take into the summer and learn from, build from there, and then come fall camp, it's time to compete. And then whatever happens, happens at that point. But I would say the key ingredient for both these guys, they're competitors, which not one of these guys on this board here ever really talked to me about depth chart, anything like that, which I loved. They were just like, hey, I fit, I like it. You're going to give me an opportunity. I can see the reps I'm going to get. As long as I get that chance, I'll go out there and make the most of it. Football's not guaranteed. You got to take advantage of your opportunity. And every one of these guys, in my opinion, they all had that mindset. As far as Keegan goes, again, I'll go back to, you know, a guy right here in our backyard. And we've got a chance to see Keegan for a lot of years. He's come to our camp. Declo has been a part of this for a long time, and certainly we've been around him and the type of player that he is, the type of person, more importantly, that he is, the type of student, his family. And, you know, he's right here in Idaho, and we've seen him for a couple years now, and he's done nothing but proved himself every single game, every single year, state championships, and his mindset is exactly what we're looking for. He's a blue-collar, tough, wants to come in here, wants to play hard, you know, thinking about his opportunities and what he has to do to be successful for us. That's exactly the kind of guys you're looking for. The recruiting process was great relationship with his family and with him and his coaches. But, you know, he's exactly what we've been looking for.